Ah, Hollywood. It's a town where the streets are paved with gold and dreams die every single day. Seriously, where's that Goonies sequel we were promised? And what the heck happened to Inception 2? But while plenty of sequels to mega-hit films have struggled and failed to claw their way out of development hell, few follow-ups have endured more setbacks than Gladiator 2. The long-awaited follow-up to one of Ridley Scott's most popular movies, Gladiator 2 has valiantly tried to battle its way into theaters. But every time it rises up, the film is beaten back down. It's time to grab your sword and helmet and finally figure out what happened. Well, Maximus is dead. When Gladiator hit theaters in 2000, the sword and sandal epic wowed critics. It currently holds an impressive score on Rotten Tomatoes, and it took home $457 million at the worldwide box office. The movie also fared well during awards season, taking home the Oscar for Best Picture and nabbing the Best Actor prize for Russell Crowe. The film pretty much turned Crowe into an international superstar, and nearly 2 decades later, people still shout lines like this.
Are you not entertained?
Naturally, with such a massive hit on their hands, DreamWorks was quick to start developing a sequel. There was just one major Colosseum-sized problem with the idea. Maximus Decimus Meridius, the main character of the movie, is kinda, dead. In the film's climactic moments, the evil Emperor Commodus, played by Joaquin Phoenix, challenges Maximus to a gladiator battle. There's no universe where Joaquin Phoenix beats Russell Crowe in hand-to-hand combat, so Commodus evens the odds by secretly stabbing Maximus before tossing him into the arena. Luckily, Maximus is fueled by revenge and righteous anger. Fighting through the pain, Maximus kills Commodus with the Emperor's own weapon before drifting away into the wheat-filled afterlife. It was a killer ending for a standalone film, but it certainly makes things tricky for a sequel. But hey, Hollywood had gotten around this kind of problem before, right? Prequel problems. These days, prequels are all the rage, with everything from Star Wars to X-Men and the Alien franchise going back to move forward. DreamWorks was looking to do the same thing to get Maximus back into the world of the living. When people started whispering about a new Gladiator movie in 2001, the word on the web was that the story would take place years before the events of the first film. It was set to focus on Maximus's early days in the Roman military, showing the Spaniards' rise from mere soldier to mighty general. Producer Douglas Wick declared talks were underway to get the ball rolling, saying, "You don't finally do something like Gladiator 2 unless you have a dazzling story to tell." The studio was reportedly looking to pay Crowe as much as $20 million to head back into the arena. The studio lined up David Franzoni, one of the original movie's writers, to put the scripts together. But much like a Roman mob, Hollywood can be fickle. And the project never made it out of development. Shifting to a sequel. Sometime between 2001 and 2002, DreamWorks decided to put the brakes on the Gladiator prequel and shift their focus to a sequel. The first big change involved David Franzoni stepping away from his typewriter to produce. The writing gig then went to John Logan, another one of the original Gladiator writers. With a new guy putting words on the page, the story was suddenly set 15 years after the events of the original film. That same year, producer Walter Parkes hinted the film might possibly jump back and forth in time, but it would mainly tell the story of Lucius, the royal son of Lucilla. It would have followed Lucius as the last heir of Marcus Aurelius, as he sought out his true father, who we would have discovered would turn out to be Maximus. Director Ridley Scott seemed on board with the idea, even declaring that Logan's script was ready to go at one point. However, the sequel was going to be significantly different from the first film when it came to action. As Scott explained, he wasn't going to touch gladiators again, a potentially controversial choice for a movie tentatively called Gladiator 2. Instead, Scott was more interested in the political arena and wanted to focus on politics and praetorians, rather than blood and guts. Scott also expected to start filming in 2005, but as 2004 faded into memory, Gladiator 2 was still stuck in the cinematic mud. But work continued, and the film eventually morphed into one of the greatest movies never made. Nick Cave's Christ Killer. If you've ever heard a Nick Cave song, then you know the Australian artist is basically an old-timey prophet armed with a guitar. His songs are brutal, apocalyptic, and spiritual in an Old Testament sort of way, and you get that same vibe watching the movies he's been involved with over the years. Cave has composed music for films like Hell or High Water and The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. He's also written scripts for movies like Lawless and The Proposition. With that kind of cinematic mind, it's not surprising that Russell Crowe saw potential in Cave's fire and brimstone brain, asking Cave to write the screenplay for Gladiator 2. What is a bit surprising is how absolutely insane the script turned out to be. Cave didn't disappoint when it came to figuring out how to follow up Maximus's death. The project was titled Christ Killer, and would have opened in the afterlife, with Maximus realizing he's dead. Unfortunately, there's nary a wheat field in sight, and his wife and child are nowhere to be seen. Eventually, the Gladiator comes face to face with the dying gods. The decrepit deities make a deal with Maximus, promising to guide him to his family if he'll kill a god who's gone rogue, one who's betrayed the Roman faith and now professes belief in the one true god. As Maximus agrees to do their dirty work, he eventually winds up on Earth, several years in the future. After returning to the real world, he discovers little Lucius has grown up to be a savage soldier, one with a bad habit of violently murdering Christians. Maximus eventually takes a stand with the persecuted Christians, leading an army against the Roman legions. But after his victory, he's cursed to go through time as an immortal, fighting in countless wars and popping up in every conflict from the Crusades to Vietnam. If you think that sounds wild, we didn't even mention the Purgatory scene, the Colosseum filled with alligators, or the finale that takes place inside the Pentagon. Yeah, the one in Washington, D.C. Cave describes the script as a stone-cold masterpiece. Sure, why not? Not over yet. It's been pretty quiet the past decade, but Ridley Scott still hasn't given up on Gladiator. In March of 2017, Scott said he does know how to bring him back, in reference to Maximus. So, never give up, right? Maximus wouldn't. Thanks for watching. Click the looper icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus, check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.